time to go back to the beginning and do it all over again on Overview with Asteroid G. You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein. With me, as always, is...
Tom Clancy's Josh Schaefer, Season 4.
Queen Bee.
And we are going to be talking today about, well, technically, specifically the Ryanverse. This is the Tom Clancy stuff that's, like, focused solely on Jack Ryan, and I guess now one movie that's kind of related because we finally have a spin-off to something or other, but I don't know that anyone cares. There have been a number of adaptations of the Jack Ryan films, and I want to get this out of the way right now up front. I can't really give a shit about any of them. Like, our our mother did not raise us to be, like, rah-rah, America woo kind of people. And these movies are very rah-rah America kind of films. So if you can't get into the patriotism it's selling, I feel like these movies are kind of a hard sell.
Not even Patriot games?
It's okay. It's fine. Like, I think part of my problem is, like, for the three movies, the Alec Baldwin and two Han Solo films, like, they just kind of blend together to me in their mid-90s blandness.
Yeah, but Patriot Games has Sean Bean in it, So
let's... B, you were going to say something first?
You can't seem to, they can't seem to have Jack Ryan get through more than maybe 2 movies before they change Jack Ryan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think, and we can cover this. The first 3 movies in this set are technically all part of the same series, despite the fact that Alec Baldwin's Jack Ryan and then whoever played his wife, they changed from the first movie to the second. They're supposed to take place all in the same universe, technically. So, The Hunt for Red October, which has a very Scottish Sean Connery playing a very Russian submarine guy. I couldn't even get through that sentence without laughing. Like, of the 3 films, I feel like this is the strongest movie as a movie, but it's also the weakest Jack Ryan film because he feels not like superfluous to it, but there's stronger characters like Sean Connery's Russian spy captain, like, in the movie that's better than Jack Ryan is.
Yeah, well, you had Alec Baldwin who played Jack Ryan for a couple of movies. You had Harrison Ford who played for a couple of movies. You have Chris Pine who was him in one movie, I think. I don't think he did the second one.
Ben Affleck was before that, yeah.
Yeah, he was in one. And then you now have Jack Ryan being played by John Krasinski, which I like him. But the second season just blew chunks compared to the first season.
And this is the issue I have, I think, with, like, Tom Clancy's books, which I haven't read, but how they get adapted. So the books started, like in the 1970s or something, and they're written very of the time period they came out in. So when Hunt for Red October came out, and it's Cold War era, late 80s, when it happens, it still can be a Cold War era style film, because that felt, even if we were past the point where the wall fell down, the Berlin Wall, for those who are too young to remember, that it still could play in the time period it's in. And then Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger are about, like, the IRA, which was still active at the time, and the drug war, which was active because of Reagan and is never gonna fucking go away. So those were fine. And, like, I think action-wise, Clear and Present Danger is probably the best action film, even if it's got, like, the most meandering story. And of the villains, I think Sean Connery's better than Sean Bean, but both the first and the second one, which is Patriot Games, those are strong for their villains, even if the stories aren't necessarily the best. I think of the first 3, though, Hunt for Red October is the best film with the best story.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
Like, in the Harrison Ford movies, you've got 2 lead actors there. You've got Harrison Ford and Harrison Ford's finger that he points at everyone.
Well,
are you telling me you want to be fingered by Harrison Ford?
I don't. Callista Flockhart maybe does, but I don't, okay?
That's his signature, though. He does it to like Princess Leia.
He's a very pointy person.
Yeah, and it's worth it.
Can you?
That's his shtick.
Can you just
It's
like I don't know. I just like in episode 7. I just want Princess like Leia to look at me and go, "Can you point that somewhere else, please? I'm tired of it."
That's like asking Pauly Shore not to do the weasel. Like you just can't.
If you rank all the Jack Ryans according to popular society right now, Alec Baldwin was the best.
Yes,
Jack Ryan.
I would agree.
Then you have Harrison Ford, who played, the statesman and president, and then you had John Krasinski, who comes in third, and Ben Affleck comes in fourth. And there's only been 4 actors who have played, and Chris Pine. Chris Pine doesn't even rank on here. So sorry, Chris Pine.
Okay, so the Sum of All Fears is the next one of the 4 so far that we've touched upon with with Ben Affleck, and it's not a good movie, but it's more. I think it's actually more watchable than the Harrison Ford ones for what it is. It's a prequel or reboot or whatever you want to call it with a young Jack Ryan, and I feel like Ben Affleck was probably not the best person to play the role, because instead of playing like a nebbish dude like John Krasinski does in the first season of Jack Ryan, he plays a very Ben Affleck character.
Yes.
You know what? I don't like shitting on Ben Affleck because I actually like him in a certain movie. Yeah. I really liked him in The Accountant. He was amazing.
He's good for certain roles.
Yeah, he's good for certain roles. And he wasn't half bad as Batman.
Huh?
He wasn't half bad as Batman.
No, actually, I think it's not the Justice or Batman v. It's not Ben Affleck that was the problem with Batman v Superman and Justice League. It's that those movies betrayed the character he came in to play. Yes, I agree.
So he's not terrible. He might be an awful person, but he's not a terrible actor. So we'll go with that. But Jack Ryan movies as they were, I think my favorite out of all of the Jack Ryan movies, and I have seen all of them amazingly enough, because even though our mother did not put in our brain that America is America, even though she was in the Navy and the NSA. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Mom, you're dead. Doesn't matter.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. I really liked Harrison Ford, and I think it was Clear and Present Danger. I think it was Clear and Present Danger that I really liked.
Drug War in Nicaragua.
Yeah, I think that was the one that I liked the best out of all of them. But I do like the first season of Jack Ryan with John Krasinski, and I think he plays a very good Jack Ryan. He just needs a better writer.
He does. Well, the problem... So before we jump the gun on that, and I think we're all going to have opinions on that Amazon series, we do at least need to touch on the last one, which is Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, the 5th of the Jack Ryan movies officially starring Jack Ryan in them, to show up so far. And I think I know the problem with this. And it's the same problem I had with Murder on the Orient Express. And it's the same problem I had with the first Thor film. And I haven't seen the Cinderella remake, but I'm sure I'd have that problem with it too. It's a Kenneth Branagh production. And Kenneth Branagh is a really boring director.
He really is. He's a great actor, though.
He is. He's a very Shakespearean actor. You put him in Shakespeare and just have him act. He's fine. The problem is, Kenneth Branagh only wants to show up in Kenneth Branagh movies. And Kenneth Branagh movies are boring.
Yeah.
So, Chris Pine, again, he's not nebbish enough to play the analyst that is Jack Ryan. But he's fine for the kind of role they wanted him to play in Shadow Recruit. And I like the fact that the quote-unquote wife, who's his girlfriend and then fiance, played by... Keira Knightley is his girlfriend in that film. And she's fine. And they actually give her more to do than the wife usually gets in these films. But even with all of that, it's still wretchedly boring.
There's a lot of talking.
Yeah, a lot of talking and not a lot of action. Which it tells you exactly what you need to know about Shakespearean actor Kenneth Branagh and what he likes to do in his movies.
Yeah, talk.
Talk.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know, right? Let's have long exposition. So, and then of course he was also in Tenet, and he had long exposition in that too. And Tenet's a terrible movie, even if Kenneth Branagh didn't direct it.
I'm not sure what line this movie is from. I know it's from a Jack Ryan movie because Kathleen and I laughed about it for such a long time. But
Sure.
the amount of it has to be one of the Harrison Ford ones, where the mom and his daughter are in a car accident, and they come back and they say that she had to have her spleen removed, and Kathleen and I just look at each other and go, "Hey, you don't need it anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like it's going to kill her. She'll be fine."
Patriots Day. I think that was the one because it was a terrorist attack on them.
Yeah, so
Yep.
you know, that kind of detail in that movie that could have completely been taken out. Like there was no point for it.
Yeah. It's she was in a serious car accident and we took out probably the least effective organ that we could.
Exactly.
Maybe we could have removed her gallbladder or her appendix, like yeah. So, so yes, John Krasinski. So let's talk about what works and what doesn't for the Amazon TV series Jack Ryan. And what works about Jack Ryan is John Krasinski and then the guy from The Wire that plays opposite him.
Well, here is one of my biggest
Wendell Pierce.
Yeah,
my biggest problem with season 2 is they've already established the girl that he plans to marry in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
They established that.
Yeah.
In season 2, they kind of have him flirting with some other spy.
Yeah. She's the wife or the girlfriend or fiance or whatever she's going to be is nowhere to be seen in this show. But yeah, so and I think a lot of that problem is the fact that like Tom Clancy was a very rah America go team kind of guy for all the stuff that he wrote up until he died and someone else took over and they're just continuing what he did. And part of that rah America is the nuclear family. So you got to have the straight white bread dude, which is Jack Ryan, and you got to have the wife so that they can have their 2.5 kids, and she's got to be in everything as a background person so that she can be there to support her rah America guy. Which take it or leave it, that's fine. I like the movies where she actually gets more to do, but the shows aren't based on any particular Jack Ryan story. They specifically said that all the stuff that happens in those novels is so outdated to a world that we live in right now that they just threw it all aside and decided to write their own stuff. And the first season's kind of okay for what it is. It's a little xenophobic, but it's fine for what it is. And it kind of feels like they at least took a plotline that could have shown up in a Jack Ryan film and adapted that. But the second season isn't based on anything. And it feels like the writers were just writing their own Jack Ryan fan fiction, and it sucked.
Yeah, it definitely does suck. And the future girlfriend wife is never to be seen again. And then he starts flirting with somebody else. And if you are a Jack Ryan fan, you can't have that. Yeah. It's not possible to have that because it's like taking Snow White and taking her out of the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? You can't just do that. She has a purpose. She has an entire story arc that you have to do with her. If you don't do that story arc, people will be completely lost as to why you have a story that isn't that story.
It's Snow White, but she renounces her crown and doesn't meet any dwarves and doesn't become the fairest of them all and just kind of goes off and becomes the woodcutter.
Or a baker, exactly. It's like it makes no sense to the people who know the story.
That's all of what happens in second season, because the analyst part of Jack Ryan is almost completely ditched, and now he's this like guns akimbo CIA agent running around and taking out guys left, right, and center.
Exactly.
Yeah. Finally, for the whole run, we have Without Remorse. Have both of you guys watched that Amazon movie?
No, okay. I have not.
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah,
I started to watch
it.
I don't remember most of it.
It's a tedious slog. So the character, it's John something. It's his last name changes by the end of the movie, so it doesn't even matter. But it's a very, like Jack Ryan, it's a very generic white bread name. Even though he's a black guy in the movie. But, they're basing it on the Jack Ryan books. And this is a character who's shown up in the movies before. He was played by Willem Dafoe with a lot of charisma because it's Willem Dafoe. In Clear and Present Danger, he was played by Sabretooth, whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's played by Michael B. Jordan in Without Remorse.
Yeah, exactly. I was building to that. But in the previous movies, he's actually kind of charismatic and sarcastic and interesting. Like, he's seen some shit, but he's developed a sense of humor about it. In the I am the Black Ops guy that they call in because they can't call in you, Jack Ryan, face of America. But they need to get stuff done. So he's the shadow operative, the actual shadow recruit instead of, like, Chris Pine. So he's played by Michael B. Jordan here, and they purposely put him right after his wife dies. So he's grieving the whole time, utterly depressed, and doesn't have the part of the character that actually works. So he's an absolute chore to watch. And they did this to Michael B. Jordan, who was fantastic as Killmonger and could play a charismatic character. It was the worst idea possible for this movie.
You're not wrong, and now I remember it. Wow.
I can't remember. I think we watched this movie, parts of it, and then you're sitting there going, no, I watched the whole thing, and it was awful.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Like,
yep.
If they make another one, I have hopes that they set it like 5 years later and let Michael B. Jordan play a charismatic character, because the guy they got right now, the character is wretched, and I don't want to watch him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember exactly what happened while watching that film. I went, this is boring.
Yeah. It is. So, looking at the whole of it then, what we have is effectively 2 good movies, and I count all of The Hunt for Red October and parts of the 2 Harrison Ford films. And then we have 1 season of a show that's really good, and a lot of screen time that sucks.
Yeah.
So my question to you guys, I got 2, but the first one is, am I missing something? If I was more patriotic, would I like this better?
No. Okay. Being more patriotic isn't going to make you like patriotic movies, because they're bad.
Okay.
They're just bad.
I don't have anything else to add to it. I mean, I'm not necessarily super patriotic, but I can't imagine if I was super patriotic that I'd like it anymore. Okay. Just because, I mean, I love James Bond movies, and I don't give a shit about, like, England, in the sense of I'm not patriotic as a Great Britain person, or English as they are also called sometimes.
Yeah, the Brits. Yeah. So my other question then is, like, let's say that you could do any story you want. You don't have to stick. We're already off book with Tom Clancy anyway, so you don't have to use his novels. What would be a Jack Ryan story that would interest you?
Jack Ryan figures out the American healthcare network.
Oh, God. Him in a room. Is it like a bottle episode? Just 2 hours of him, like, in a room actually, like, doing analyst shit?
Yeah, like, or maybe he's meeting with his HR rep and he's, talking through about how it's going to be, if you get shot in the shoulder, it's going to be $200,000 if you're in the U.S., so try not to get shot here.
Get shot in Norway. They'll take care of you.
Yeah. It's like, go to Sweden.
So does he then spend time, like, doing filing and collating and stuff, or does, like, at some point he just, like, no, fuck this, and he picks up a gun and then, like, kills everyone at, like, Anthem Blue Cross or something? What's the end game?
Well, you guys were missing the whole point that if you're in the military, you're covered under military health care.
But then you have to go to the VA.
Yeah, but no, only if he's not in the military anymore. So it has to be an analyst no longer actually in the military. Now he's just working a 9-to-5 analyst job somewhere, and he's a vet, and then he would have to go to the VA, and then, then it would be more interesting.
I don't know. I like the idea of Jack Ryan, played by John Krasinski, just getting a job as, like, part of the nerd herd at Best Buy.
Nice. Yeah, I like it.
I'd watch it.
And then he ends up with someone's laptop, and, like, he studies it and realizes they're, like, a criminal, and then he goes off on his mission, and his wife goes, "You retired for a reason."
Exactly. Well, she's a doctor, so
yeah,
he doesn't really have to work.
She's never home anyway. Yeah, no, he gets a 9-to-5 tech job, and then suddenly, like, keeps getting sucked into ridiculous plot lines, and Wendell Pierce's CIA guy's like, "We need you to do this." He's like, but he's like, "No, it's a child pornography ring. You're the only one that can stop it from the inside."
Yeah, we need to write for Jack Ryan. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, this has been Not So Live from Asteroid G, an overview of the Jack Ryan series and then some. I am Mike Shadow Groot Finkelstein.
I'm Josh Schaefer.
Queen Bee.
And we will see you next time.